it's pretty amazing how good Giratina really is. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we do upload daily PvP content, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Eddie Campo, thank you for the support. So very close to 1,000 subscribers, so please subscribe if you haven't already, and if you enjoy the content. Today, another Master League video. Tomorrow we will get back into Premier Cup, but I feel like there is a lot of Premier Cup content out there, so I'm going to put out a little bit of Master League while there isn't too much of it available at the moment. In today's video, I'm going to run the same team as yesterday, except I'm switching Giratina into lead this time as opposed to Kyogre, and we're going to see if that makes any difference here. So Giratina lead, Kyogre and Dialga in the back against Kita Tian in match number 1. And I'm going to lead Giratina Altered Forme into the Melmetal here. So Giratina versus Melmetal, unlike the Ultra League, actually does go to Melmetal just slightly in the 0 shields. Obviously, once shields are used, it goes into Giratina's favor. However, in the 0 shield matchup, Melmetal will slightly win just going straight Rock Slide, but if we shield, we'll win that and we'll have energy for Dragon Claw. So opponent actually switches out into Dragonite here, which is totally fine for us because we're going to throw these Dragon Claws, then instantly switch into Dialga, and Dialga absolutely demolishes Dragonite. The only problem here is that Melmetal will then come in as I turn on Do Not Disturb because my text messages were blowing up at the moment, and Dialga comes through, but Melmetal is going to come back in here, and it has a lot of energy, so it's going to be able to knock out this Dialga, but it's not really that big of a problem for us because we do have our Giratina in the back to take care of that Melmetal after. Now, if they have their own Dialga in the back, we're in big trouble because Kyogre is going to have a really tough matchup with. Are they going to be running Double Dragon? I mean, we're running it, so why wouldn't they? But we're going to have to see here. So the defense does drop on the Melmetal. I would expect it to switch out as a result. So I bring in the Giratina. And it is Dialga in the back as expected. So fortunately we did get the switch out. And at this point I have to just get this Dialga down as low as possible. Remember, we have 2 shields still. So I am going to throw these Dragon Claws here. And the Dialga may decide to start shielding at some point because the lower it gets, the better for us. So there's the first shield. And the main question here is whether or not I would get to another Dragon Claw. I'm not. So now I have 2 shields. And how am I going to play this against the Kyogre? So we're at full health. Kyogre is pretty much at 50%. So I'm going to shield one of these Iron Heads. And that's about all I could shield with this Kyogre. Unless it looks obvious they're throwing like a Thunder or a Draco Meteor. So this looks like another Iron Head. So I'm going to let it go through. This isn't going to KO, of course. And now I'm going to throw this Surf, trying to get the last shield here, over farming a little bit. I'm actually over farming for close to 2 Surfs. And what I'm going to have to do here is have enough energy for that Melmetal in the back. They actually do use the shield. So now all I have to do is get to a Surf and I should be able to win here. I have a shield, so I'm going to shield whatever they throw here. And look at me. Why am I over tapping? What am I doing here? I'm just over tapping. I have the Surf ready. He has no shields. We did not learn from the last video. And look, I don't even get the Surf off. We would have won the game. So, again, clueless play in the first match like yesterday, and we lose. KM Popples in match number 2. And shout out to this trainer because I battled this trainer like 5 times yesterday. I guess there isn't too many people doing Master League, so every 30 minutes it seems like we matched up again. So shout out to you. And they're leading Dialga here. And Giratina versus Dialga obviously is in favor of Dialga, but it isn't the worst matchup in terms of us doing damage to Dialga. As you're going to see here, we're actually going to get off a lot of Dragon Claws. So here's Dragon Claw number 2, and these do chunk away at the Dialga. And at this point, Dialga could commit to a farm down, but if it does, it's probably going to have to use a shield at some point, or it's going to get extremely low. So it does choose to throw its energy, and I'm okay with that, so I'm going to let it go down. The Dialga is now low enough for our own Dialga to come in, and we should be able to Dragon Breath it down before it gets to another charge. So that's what I do here. I bring in the Dialga, trying to farm it down. It does get to another charge room, but this is obviously going to be an Iron Head only. I do choose to shield though to protect my Dialga, leave it with a lot of health. And let's see what they're going to bring in here. It happens to be a Melmetal. So I'm going to switch into the Kyogre. And they instantly switch into Groudon. So it just happens to be the case that I had a Pokemon that is pretty good against both their Pokemon. But honestly, Melmetal could have done some damage to me. And I think in their position, I would have probably stayed in that matchup with the Melmetal, tried to have burned both the shields, and then have brought the Groudon in from Dialga in the back. But it would be a tricky spot still. Obviously, Groudon would perform a lot better against Dialga here. But basically, by bringing in the Groudon there, maybe they weren't expecting the Kyogre in the back, I don't know. But we do knock out the Groudon. Now the Melmetal comes in, and at this point, we're in a very good position here. I believe I still have energy on the Dialga actually, so I'm actually going to switch out now and try to go for the Draco Meteor here. And this is going to put the Melmetal very low. And at this point, we're actually not in super power range either. So this Melmetal is going to have to overfarm a little bit, throw the superpower here. This is going to debuff it, so one Waterfall will be able to knock out the Melmetal, and it actually did not KO, so we're able to Dragon Breath down before they could Thunder Shock down. I'm pretty sure they had Charge Move ready there, but they realized they had to build up for about 2 Charge Moves, or farm us down and throw their energy to have any chance of winning. So GG's, Kayami 9 is up next in match number 3, and we're leading Giratina into the Melmetal again. And honestly, all of these Melmetal leads make a lot of sense, because I saw it firsthand last night. So many people were leading Dialga, and that was a big part of why I switched out of the Kyogre lead. Not only that, but to make the Togekiss in the back matchup a bit more manageable, because at least now I have Kyogre to deal with it sort of in the back. So just like we saw in the previous match, I'm going to stay in here and just throw these Shadow Sneaks. So this is pretty much one of the reasons why you don't want to run Ancient Power anymore. Obviously that would help with the Togekiss matchup, but you really do need that Shadow Sneak, especially for this matchup against Melmetal. And we are just chipping away here. Another Rock Slide is going to come through. We don't have to shield here until the last one. And now I'm going to throw the Dragon Claw here. And I was trying to see if throwing a Dragon Claw might allow me to beat it to the next charge move maybe and get that off. But clearly it does not. And it looked like I overtapped, so maybe I could have, but they might have overfarmed too. Either way, at this point we have to shield here. Rock Slide comes through. And unfortunately I did click it, but they switched out into Dialga. So this is amazing for us, because they gave up switch. Well, we were going to win switch advantage anyways, but now we got that extra damage off on the Dialga with the Dragon Claw, which is huge. And I'm going to be able to... I throw this Iron Head because he was obviously over farming. And at that point I decided, you know what? I'm going to throw if he's not throwing. And he didn't shield. And this kind of sucked, because this is probably going to be a Draco Meteor now. It's only an Iron Head. So I didn't shield there expecting the Draco Meteor. It happens to be an Iron Head. So we actually survived. Brings back in the Melmetal. We farm that down. And what is their last Pokemon? It's a Giratina Origin with 2 shields. So I want to do as much damage as I possibly can here with the Dialga. Gonna throw this Iron Head. This is definitely going to get a shield here. But we have an uphill battle, because this Giratina has a lot of energy. And we have a Kyogre which cannot do much. So what is the win condition here? Basically, at some point, we're going to have to sack that Giratina if we want any chance of winning. So I'm going to take this first one here. Am I going to shield this, or am I going to save it? I decided to let it go. It's a Shadow Ball. I was hoping for the Ominous Wind. So what does that tell me? They're probably going to go for Ominous Wind now. So I try to sack. We call the sack. This is likely going to be an Ominous Wind. It's going to knock out the Giratina. But that has allowed us to build up for 2 Surfs. And we are going to get the shield that we saved is going to be used here. That's going to allow us to get to the second Surf. And then we're going to throw them back to back. First one is going to get the shield. Second one is going to KO. And we're going to take this matchup despite being down a shield with Kyogre in the back, because we basically used the Giratina as a third shield, which was necessary to come back from that really tough situation there, and we end up taking that match. So could have been 3-0 if we didn't mess up in that first game, but you know, we always find a way to screw something up. So we're 2-1 going up against Titleister in match number 4 here, and we see a Groudon lead. Okay, so yesterday we were hunting for these with the Kyogre, but today Kyogre's in the back. So what do we do in Giratina versus Groudon? Well, the thing is that Earthquake is really going to hurt. So do you want to shield Earthquake? Well, you would probably ideally like to shield one, but what I'm going to show you here is actually how much of a tank Giratina Altered Forme really is. So as you see, I'm just spamming Dragon Claws here, and we've gotten the Groudon into the yellow now. This is almost 1,000,000% going to be an Earthquake. I'm going to let it go through, hoping it's a Fire Punch. It is an Earthquake. So we got hit by the Earthquake, and now if Groudon goes for another Earthquake, obviously it's going to knock us out. But that seemed a little bit too quick, so I take a chance here on it being a Fire Punch. It is a Fire Punch. And now it's very unlikely that they're going to get to an Earthquake. So I let this go again, another Fire Punch. This isn't going to KO. And I should have close to 2 Dragon Claws now. Mud Shot's not going to KO. So are we actually going to win the 0 shield matchup here against the Groudon? Yes, we were going to. So they switched onto Dialga. I wasn't able to throw that energy. Great switch on their part. So it just goes to show you that Giratina can hold its own against Groudon, which is amazing. I mean, not really too shocking, but it's pretty amazing how good Giratina really is. So here, I called the Draco Meteor. I shielded up. I was going to shield even if that wasn't Iron Head, but because it was actually a Draco Meteor, I didn't have to throw my charge move anymore, and I was taking reduced damage from their Dragon Breath, so that changed my game plan entirely. So they bring in Mewtwo. I have so much energy stored now because they threw Draco Meteor and I shielded it. So because I didn't waste any shields on that Giratina Groudon match, I was able to use the shield there in that Dialga mirror. So now I'm just throwing these Iron Heads. Mewtwo uses the shield. We're in such a good spot right now. And the Mewtwo is going to throw most likely the Side Strike here. I'm going to shield this up. And I actually choose to go for the farm down here, which we are able to do. And they bring back in the Groudon, and the Groudon is pretty much done, so I'm going to throw the Iron Head here. That knocks out the Groudon, and that's a GG there. So they didn't even need to use the Kyogre in that matchup, which is pretty crazy. And we go into match number 5 against Matthew Malad. And again, gonna lead Giratina here. Really like Giratina. Another Melmetal lead. So this is really good for us. Obviously we will be down a shield, but it's almost impossible to lose switch advantage here. You're going to keep it unless you choose not to shield. And even when you do shield, you're going to be able to throw a charge move after at whatever comes in. Most likely it's going to be Dialga. Everyone is running Dialga. So just farming away here. This is going to be a Rock Slide. I did have one opponent in one of the sets that wasn't recorded who actually threw a superpower, which made the match really easy. But we are going to go Shadow Sneak here. And this is going to put the Melmetal into the yellow. And now we're going to hit by the Rock Slide. So I mean, it's a very straightforward match. Sometimes people switch out of this matchup. They farm up a lot of energy and then switch out into like Dialga, for example. Other times people will choose to stay in it, like as you see here. If they do choose to farm up a lot of energy and then switch out into Dialga, throw a Dragon Claw at the Dialga and then bring in your own, and you'll be able to beat their Dialga in the mirror. Then the Melmetal will of course defeat your Dialga. But from there you have switch advantage, so you should be in a decent position unless they hard counter your Kyogre in the back. So here comes the shield, as you can see, and the Rock Slide comes through. So now I would expect the Dialga to come in. It does. You gotta throw the Dragon Claw really quick because Dragon Breath is so oppressive. So we do throw the Dragon Claw here. And this is going to do enough damage to the Dialga to give us the advantage. And The good thing about that Melmetal Giratina match is that it brings the Giratina so low to the point that the Dialga isn't able to farm up a lot of energy because it's already so low in the red. So again, our opponent actually lets us throw first, which is really good for us because it's actually going to allow us to get their shield. And now that we've gotten that shield out of the way, we actually don't have to shield our own. They throw Draco Meteor again, so their attack goes down. They switch into Groudon. So this is perfect for us because now I could throw the Surf. And that Dialga in the back is super low, so all I have to do is ensure that my Kyogre has enough health to withstand the Dragon Breaths, and I'm going to win because it has no energy. It threw Draco Meteor. So if this is an Earthquake, it could put us low enough to the point where Dialga could farm us down. So I'm going to shield here. It's a Fire Punch, so we did get baited. But they throw another Charge Move. Honestly, this shouldn't be Earthquake. I don't think they get energy that quickly. So it is going to be another Fire Punch. And now we could just farm down. We have a Surf ready. And this time we're not going to be over tapping. We're throwing it right away. I'm going to try not to do that mistake ever again, to be honest. Because that cost us a 5-0 in this set. So we go 4-1. And honestly, I'm really liking this team. I'm really liking Master League, to be honest. Master League has been really good to me. And I'm going to try to keep going and see if I can get to rank 10 because the grind has been real. And we've been slacking a little bit, dropping down in rating. Keep hovering around 27 to 2800 range. We need to get past that 2800 bump and keep grinding up. So how does this team compare to the Kyogre lead? I think Giratina in general might be a better lead. It just performs so well. It's so bulky. It could literally take damage from almost anything. Even the Giratina Origin match, it could go for Giratina Altered as long as you call the Shadow Ball, Omnis Wind Baits, use the shields. And Kyogre in the back does give me a little bit of an advantage compared to when it's in the front against like Togekiss teams, because before, if Togekiss was in the back and I lost my Kyogre, it's really hard to come back from that with Dialga and Giratina, especially because a lot of times they'll have their own Dialga to get rid of mine, and then Giratina versus Togekiss is really hard to come back from. So I do like Kyogre in the back for that reason, and overall I think this team is really good. So far it's been performing really well, and I'm going to see if it continues. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.